Welcome to The Explainer. We're always told to overcome our struggles, to just fight through them. But what if we're looking at them all wrong? Today, we're diving into a really powerful idea that your struggles aren't just obstacles to be beaten. They're actually blueprints, showing you exactly what you were meant to build.
So let's just start with this question, because it kind of reframes everything. What if every single challenge, every setback, all that resistance you feel, what if it isn't just random stuff to endure? What if it's all a set of coded instructions trying to tell you something really important?
I mean, life can feel like this, right? Like you're just stuck in this constant fog of war, just reacting to problems as they pop up. You put out one fire and boom, another one starts somewhere else. It's totally exhausting and it keeps you feeling stuck in the same place.
And that feeling of being stuck, it usually comes from being trapped in one of two cycles. For most of us, it's the default cycle. A problem happens, we slap a quick, superficial fix on it, and when that doesn't work, we make excuses. And the loop just repeats over and over. But there is another way. It's the intentional cycle. This is where you actually press into the issue, find the real root cause, create a plan, and then you execute it to break that loop for good.
Okay, so that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you actually make that jump? How do you break out of that reactive loop and start to, read the intelligence that the battlefield is giving you? Well, it takes a pretty radical shift in how you see conflict itself. And that shift leads us right here, to the core concept, revelation by conflict. This is the big idea. It's that every single delay, every point of resistance, every bit of pain, it's not just a trial you have to get through. It's a coded message. It's a piece of mission intelligence just sitting there, waiting for you to decode it. And this idea creates two totally different ways of being. You've got the spectator, who is kind of passive, just watching for signs, always asking, am I safe? Am I going to be okay? But then you have the agent. The agent knows they're on a mission, so they're actively looking at the struggle and asking, okay, what's the mission intelligence here? What is this trying to tell me? Think about it like this. It's a classic military idea. The enemy always reveals where the most important target, the gate, is by where he posts the most guards. So the areas in your life with the most resistance, the most conflict, that's it. That's exactly where your breakthrough is hiding. The challenges are literally pointing to your most important objectives.
And when you really get this, when you adopt this mindset, everything changes. You're not just a soldier stuck in warfare anymore. You're an intelligence officer who's receiving blueprints right there on the battlefield. You become a walking decoder of your own purpose. So if we're going to become decoders, we're going to need the right tools, right? This brings us to the Decoder's Toolkit and how you can forge what's called a WayMaker mindset. All right, first up, you need something called sisu. This is this amazing Finnish concept that's kind of like grit on steroids. Seriously, it's that deep inner strength that kicks in right when normal grit runs out. Sisu is the mindset that lets you look at a barrier, a wall, and see it not as an end, but as a gateway to a whole new frontier. Next, how do you build this sisu? You forge it through personal contracts. This is a simple but, believe me, incredibly powerful practice. You just make a binding agreement with yourself. You pick an area, define a few specific daily actions, and you commit to doing them for a set number of days. It's not about being perfect. It's about building that muscle of discipline and momentum. And finally, you operate by a code. The WayMaker code is like your personal operating system. It's a set of principles that guides your decisions, things like living intentionally, being relentless, forging courage, fostering unity, and ultimately, building a legacy. Now, with this toolkit in hand, you can start to decode the hardest messages of all, the ones that come from pain. This leads to our next really big idea, pain as a blueprint, because where you bleed is exactly where you are meant to build. Just let that sink in for a second. Every place you bleed reveals where you were called to build. Your deepest wounds, your most nagging struggles, they're not random. They're not flaws in your design. They are the design clues. The very place you've been hurt is pointing directly to your mission. So, to make this really concrete, let's look at a quick tale of two leaders. One is a pretty traditional manager, and the other is what we're going to call a steward leader.
So on one hand, you've got Eric the manager. He's all about control, hitting profit targets, and yeah, he gets short-term results, but his team feels totally drained, people leave all the time, and innovation just grinds to a halt. But then you've got Emily, the steward leader. She sees her job completely differently. It's about nurturing and empowering everyone. She focuses on creating holistic value, and the result? Her team thrives and innovation just flourishes.
So when you start building where you once bled, you naturally become this steward leader. Your whole goal shifts. You're not just trying to build a profitable machine anymore. You're cultivating a thriving ecosystem that benefits everyone. You move beyond just success to find real, lasting significance.
And this brings us to the final, and maybe the most important shift of all. Because this isn't just some one-time fix. This is an ongoing mission that completely redefines how you show up in the world.
See, when you start viewing your struggles as blueprints, your entire posture changes. You stop coming from a place of need, always asking for help. Instead, you start to extend an invitation from a place of newfound strength and purpose.
Your vulnerability is no longer a weakness to hide. It becomes a rallying cry. It's a call to arms. You invite other people into the gap you're standing in, and you transform what was once your personal obstacle into a shared opportunity for everyone to grow and rise together.
So ultimately, every single obstacle you face is an opportunity in disguise. It is an invitation to decode the message, to build where you have bled, and to lead from a place of true purpose. This is your invitation. The only question left is, how will you respond?